Call sign here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. The name is Jim Juliet India Mike. And come back with your call sign. I got most of it. AE0B, and what was the rest?
AE0BV, Bravo Victor.
Bravo Victor. Was that the last two Bravo Victor or what?
Victor. And I got KC9, and what was after yours?
The call is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. KC9VKV, Roger.
Roger, KC9VKV. AE0BV. My name here is Sherman in Loveland, Colorado. And where are you located, sir?
Sherman, we're located near Louisville, Kentucky, just across the river from Louisville, in Indiana, actually, Roger, but nobody knows where New Albany, Indiana is, so we just say we're next door to Louisville, Kentucky, Roger.
Roger, Roger. So you're actually in Indiana, you say?
Yes, sir, we're in a little hamlet, I guess it is a hamlet, called New Albany, Indiana, Roger.
What was your name again?
The name is Jim, Juliet India Mike, Roger.
Okay, Jim. Good to meet you. I'm here in Loveland, Colorado. I'm operating ST101, 100 watts, and cycle about 34 feet up in the middle. Over.
Roger that, Sherman. We're running two large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south and the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated, and they are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of that selector is a co-phase option where we put the two together that many times means the signal is 3 to 4 dB hotter than either one of the mag loops by themselves, Roger. Sherman, your signal has dropped down a little bit there. Are you running any kind of power, or are you just running 100 watts, sir? Roger, Roger. We're running 1 kW here. Let me drop down to 100 watts. I'll drop down on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 100 watts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's back up to a kW, Roger.
Roger. So that's nearly about S7, and then you get to about S2.
Yeah, we usually run 4 SDR receivers, internet SDR receivers, but right at the moment I don't have any of them up. We're just more or less checking out the circuit of the two radios, the one transmitting, and we're using a 7300 for the receiver. We are using the 7300 for the receiver, and yeah, let me see here just a moment. I want to try to bring up the Rochester SDR. It's usually a pretty good, although my I'm using 4 tablets for my my SDR receivers, and they're 4 in front of me here, and I can bring them up fairly easily. Let me see if Atlanta, or I'm sorry, Rochester is up. Come back and tell me, sir, just a little bit about your antenna system, and I'll check out and see how this SDR is doing.
Okay. I usually come in well on the Utah SDR, but I think it might be down now. It's been down the last few days. When I tried to check into the Utah map, but didn't do that. I'm in the center circle, 34 feet into the middle, somewhat less than the edges.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, gosh, I have to, for the receiver antenna, I have to just finished building a mute relay that when we're transmitting our KW signal, we don't get any of that KW back into our receive antenna because we are, like I said, we are running two different radios. One is set up for transmit and the other set up for receive, and we're just more or less checking out the 7300 as far as our receiver is concerned. Roger.
Roger. Then what are you transmitting with, another 7300 or something else?
No, it's a Yaesu 990. It's an older, pretty highly modified Yaesu 990. Is what we normally use. It's been pretty highly modified transmit and receive. Pretty flat on receive from 100 cycles to over 3K. And we do usually use that as the receiver. We have a spectrum analyzer tied to the output of the audio, and so we can see the incoming modulation of the folks that we're talking with. And we do offer a setup service in addition to recording. We have probably set up about 175 ICOM 7300s and probably about 60 7610s, along with all matter of other radios. Our tune-up procedure is really very simple and generic to most transmitters. Roger, Roger. Try coming up on your mic just a little bit. Let's see if we can, if I can copy you just a little bit better.
Okay, apparently I'm down in your noise. I was wondering if you were able to work on the receiver for hire can you do that for a profit, ever?
Did you say for profit?
Do you do servicing for money for business?
No, it's just a service that we offer. One of the things that the network does, and along with recording for from 3:30 till 5, and then we place that up on YouTube so folks can come by and check out their radio's audio and see what it sounds like. And in many cases, if we do a setup, we have the whole setup on tape too, so they can hear their before and after audio. Roger.
Sitting here is Allen's S118 receiver that I used was a shortwave listener for about 55 years, and mine is Allen's S118
Roger, Sherman. I'm only copying you about 2 dB above my noise level, so I was hoping conditions might get a little bit better, but they haven't. So I tell you what, let me say 3s for now. And if you get a chance, try checking in tomorrow between 3:30 and 5 Eastern on 7188. That's our usual frequency on Friday afternoon, 7188 between 3:30 and 5. So if you get a chance, try to check in. And I can tell you that sometimes we start a little slow. So if you were there around 3:30, 4 o'clock in that area, you might stand a pretty good chance of getting in. After that, it's kind of, quite a conglomerate of folks shouting at us, Roger. Roger, Roger, Sherman 3's that way, sir. Thanks for the comeback, and you have a real great day and a great weekend coming up. And again, if you get a chance, drop by on 7188. And in between time, if you wanted to check out our YouTube page, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, we have about 850 recorded Qsos. So you might check them out and see what you think. So we'll say 3s for now. We'll catch you later. And this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Roger, Roger, 3s.
Kilo 0 Delta Lima Golf.
Delta Lima Golf. Come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
It's Kilo 0 Delta Lima Golf.
Roger, Delta Lima Golf. And what's the name there?
Name it Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo, and I'm in Hawk Point, Missouri. I've got you anywhere between 15 and 20 over most of the time here in the Show Me State.
Roger, Dave. Well, likewise to you, sir. We are just kind of running a shakedown cruise. Normally, we're on 7188 on Friday afternoons on the Qso-Vlog network, but today we're kind of taking a pop-up air check to check out a new receiver that we're using. We're using a 7300 as a receiver, and our normal radio for the transmit. Normally we're using a Yaesu, an older Yaesu 990, but pretty highly modified. It's a very flat receive capabilities and very flat audio, Roger. But we are using the 990 for transmit right now.
Roger. Well, it's got very good audio and excellent signal here in the Hawk Point. I'm actually running a FTDX 3000, running about 400 watts through an Elecraft KPA 500 amp and tuner, and that's going outside to a 8010 130-foot long end fed up about 65 feet QSL.
Roger that. And come back one more time with the radio model.
It is a Yaesu FTDX 3000.
Roger. Really sounds beautiful. I think you got that radio tuned up pretty good, Roger.
Appreciate the flowers, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to touch it anymore. Haven't got any complaints so far. But anyway, well, listen, I won't hold you. I just want to let you know, getting a fine signal here from Indiana. So I'm just going to say 73 and Merry Christmas to you all up there. So anyway, I will let you get back to some other folks. So WA7 KCK, K0DLG will be clear and saying 73.
Roger, Dave, and we are recording at the moment. That's what we normally do on our Qso-Vlog network on Friday afternoons. So we are recording now, and we will be posting this up on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, it'll probably be in the next couple of days, and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And you'll be looking for an air check with your call sign in it, Roger. Now, let me just verify that. That's K0DLG, Roger?
That is affirmative.
Roger, that will be in the title of the Qso-Vlog, Roger.
Roger that. Jim, I appreciate that. I will certainly take a look at that because I hang out on that YouTube quite a bit. So anyway, like I said, 73, Merry Christmas, and I hope to catch you down the log here again. K0DLG, I will be clear, sir.
Roger, Roger. And like I say, you are one of the first to grace our 7300 as the receive radio for our Qso-Vlog. We're just kind of dialing in the RF gain, very, very reduced gain, where it's just below compression, so we get the cleanest possible signal by keeping a reduced RF front end. So we'll say 3s for now. Thanks for the comeback, and again, we'll be posting this up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So 3s. KC9VKV. There was a Whiskey 4-something station way back in there. Come back with the call sign again slowly, phonetically. I got a whiskey 4. Gosh, if you could, you might check a couple of things on your radio, see if we can get a little fatter. That's what we usually do on Friday afternoons, is help people set up their radios for maximum capabilities. The first thing we recommend is that they run their compressor at a token amount at a 3. Run that, engage that compressor and run it just as a 3 input, a third of its capabilities, 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. Roger. Roger, I still didn't get your name. Try one more time. Come up on your mic and give me your call sign slowly, phonetically, one more time, please, sir.
All right. This is Whiskey 4, Hotel India, Bravo. The handle is Romeo Uniform Sierra.
Okay, I got the call sign as W4HIB. What was the name again, please? I copy that as Russ. Is that a Roger?
That's a Roger.
Roger, name here is Jim. Juliet India Mike. Call sign is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And we are located near Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio, right at Louisville. Roger. So as we were talking, if you would be interested in getting a little fatter signal on your radio, the first thing would, well, what kind of radio are you running, sir? Roger, Russ. I can see your audio, and it could be a lot fatter. Let me give you just a couple of suggestions that you might jot down and try them later. The first thing would be to engage your compressor at about a 3, very token amount. You never want to hear somebody's compressor. If you hear that compressor, they are cranking on it too hard. So a 3, you'll never hear that compressor working, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do. So after you get that compressor engaged at a 3, if you move to your ALC meter, bring up your ALC meter with your hand on your mic gain control and adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running between mid-scale and 2/3. Adjust your audio gain control until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. That will bring you probably at about 3 dB dynamic range with an average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%. And then if you wanted to do a little touch on the top end EQ of your audio equalization, I would suggest running 2 clicks hotter top end EQ than where you are right now. Roger? Roger, Russ, 3-set way, sir, and you have a pleasant afternoon. If you get a chance, join us tomorrow afternoon between 3:30 and 5 on 7188 is usually where we hang out on Friday afternoons. So 3's for now, and we'll catch you later. Thanks for the comeback. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.
Kilo Echo 8, Kilo Juliet.
Kilo Echo 8 station, come back with the call sign again slowly, phonetically.
Kilo Echo 8, Kilo Juliet Tom.
And the name was Paul.
Tom, T-O-M, Tom.
Yes, sir, Tom. Ah, wow. Whereabouts are you?
Located in Randolph County, Elkins, West Virginia.
Roger, Tom, well, you sound mighty good this afternoon. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. The name is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and we're located near Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the river from downtown Louisville on the Indiana side in a little community called New Albany, Indiana. But usually we just say we're next door to Louisville because everybody knows where Louisville is, Roger.
QSL, sir. I went down there and took down a blacktop plant many moons ago. QSL?
Roger, Tom, I might have spoken to you. I think I recall somebody coming down and doing a job on some blacktop. Was it a manufacturing plant?
Yes, it was. It was a Heatherton and Brotherton blacktop plant there in Louisville.
Roger, what year was that?
It was probably in the 90s, I believe, if recollection does me well.
Roger. Well, I'm glad you got to check out our part of our neck of the woods, Roger.
Yes, we had a great time. We were down there. We spent a week down there taking that old plant down. I think it was, if I remember rightly, it was the last time the Indianapolis Speedway was paved.
Oh, roger that. And what radio are you running, sir?
I'm running a Kenwood TS 440S with a 63-foot end feed. QSL?
Roger, doing a great job there. What kind of wattage are you running, sir?
This old radio's running about maybe 70 watts.
Oh, excellent job. You're coming in maybe 10 dB over my noise level. I can't give you a real S-meter reading because I run so light in the front end RF-wise that the S-meter doesn't really work at all. But I'm looking at your output on the audio output on a VU meter, and I've got your voice set for zero reference level on the VU meter. So when you see speaking, I'm looking then at the residual noise level, and it's below 10 dB, so you are 10 dB over my local noise, Roger.
QSL, sir. QSL, how's your weather there?
Pleasant at the moment, a little cold, a little chilly, and they are predicting some more cold weather, but it warmed up pretty nice today, Roger.
QSL, sir. It's been cold. It was about 14 here this morning. At about 6 o'clock, it's right at 31 here today. Supposed to warm into the 40s tomorrow and the 50s on Saturday. QSL?
Roger. Well, do you prefer the cold or the hot?
I worked around blacktop all my life. I prefer to be warm.
Roger that. Well, now listen. Did you wind up getting a suntan from all the heat off that asphalt?
Yes, sir, you do. I guarantee you one thing. It'll, especially out there when it's about 100 degrees and it's 325 degrees blacktop you're putting down. You'll get a suntan off of it.
Roger. Well, they just finished topping our street here, and they put in, looked like about 1.5 inches cover on it, Roger.
Yeah, was it wearing or was it base too?
Gosh, I don't know. They just laid it down and ran over it a couple of times with, those big, heavy drums on that tractor, and called it close enough, Roger.
Well, sounds like they did you a good job. Can you give me your call sign slowly, sir?
Roger. The call here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. And I repeat, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
QSL, sir. QSL. You didn't get any of that rain we've been getting up here, have you?
No, not yet. We just had some snow flurries this morning, and I think some of it's scheduled to come back a little bit later on, Roger.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen with us. I think it's going to...
Yeah, it's Al.
But, see, a good friend of mine on the 2-meter side calls them weather guessers.
Yeah, Roger, that's about it. You know, in some of them foreign countries, man, if the weatherman gets it wrong, he better leave town because they'll be after him in the most serious way.
Well, sir, I told both my sons that when they went to college, they needed to become weathermen, and they wanted to know why I said that, and I said, well, where in the world could you get a job where you were wrong 90% of the time and still be employed?
That's true. But, you know, a lot of those local weather guys do fairly well, sometimes even better than the Weather Bureau, Roger.
We were paving all out here probably about 5 miles from my house, and there was a company out there called Highway Paving. They were doing the concrete work, and they called a weather forecaster in Houston, Texas, to forecast the weather for them so they wouldn't lose any concrete. And I asked, the guy's name was Charlie, I asked him if he had talked to Houston about the weather, and he said he called them and said it was supposed to rain at about 10:30, and about 20 minutes after it was raining.
Roger. Did it rain early or right on time?
It was a little bit early. It was like about 15 to 20 minutes after 10.
Roger that. Well, you know, I know this guy called Glenn close enough. He built my coffee maker, and the reason I know Glenn is because you can't pour that coffee without spilling it everywhere. It's just a design defect that he did, but, you know, Glenn said, close enough. So there you go, Roger.
QSL, sir, QSL. Yes, sir. Great chatting with you. I'll let you get back at it and let somebody else come in and talk to you. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, Kilo Echo 8, Kilo Juliet 73, sir, and thanks for the call.
Roger, Tom, and FYI, we have been recording, as we do on our Qso-Vlog normally on Friday afternoons. We are recording and have been recording this afternoon, and we will post it up on YouTube, so if you'd like to hear your radio, which really sounded beautiful, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for one air check that will have your call sign in the title. Roger?
QSL, sir. I'll look that up. Thank you for your time.
Roger, Tom, and it'll be a couple of days. We'll have it up by a couple of days from now. Roger?
QSL, sir. You have a great day and a Merry Christmas.
Roger, Tom. Likewise. Three's that way. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor in the Qso-Vlog pop-up air check. We're checking out running a different receiver than normal. So we're running one radio for transmit and one radio for receive. Our receive radio is a ICOM 7300, and we are running two large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one oriented east and west, the other north and south, comes in on a 3-position rotary switch, and so we can do each one separately, or we do have a co-phase position in our switch where we put them two together in a co-phase mode, which is many times 3 to 4 dB hotter in receive than either one of those mag loops by themselves. This is KC9VKV listening. Delta Juliet station, come back slowly with your call sign, please.
Kilo India 5, Delta Juliet.
Which one did you call for?
Kilo India 5, Delta Juliet. Delta Juliet, what's the name there, please, sir?
Thanks, John. Delta Oscar Nancy. We're in North Texas.
And what was your location again?
North Texas.
In Texas, is that a Roger?
That's Roger.
Roger, Roger. And what part of Texas, sir?
North Texas, not northeast of Dallas, about 30 miles.
Roger, Roger. And what's the name there?
Don.
Copy that as Don. Is that a Roger?
That's correct.
Okay, Don, tell me just a little bit about your antenna system, Roger.
It's just it's a fan dipole, 80-40-20 fan dipole oriented, pretty much north-south.
Ah, Roger that. I'm copying you on my north-south magnetic loop. Probably you would think it would be more east and west, but you know, you can't argue with the signal strength, Roger.
Yes, sir. That's correct. How do you read my audio quality?
It's a little thin. You might stand just a dB, maybe 2 clicks on the bottom end EQ on the low frequency. If you have it right there and could crank it in, I'd love to hear it.
Well, how does this sound, if I may ask? I've got a EA2450 Delta, EA2450 Delta, with a Yaesu Mac Delta 100.
Roger. Well, I thought you were pretty straight ahead there the first time I was talking to you. Then it sounded like you might have pumped in some compression. Now, we do recommend running the compressor, but only at a 3. We recommend engaging the compressor, but only at a 3. That's a 30 out of 100, 3 out of 10, or a third of its capabilities. Roger?
Roger. Yeah, I did alter the microphone. I'm not confident with the adjustments on the radio too much just yet. It don't really have a compression high, low, on, off. It has these different stages of equalization, I think they call it.
All right, let me give you some notes if you've got a pen there, and you can work them out and try them at your leisure.
I'm not sure if we're not losing the band here, sir.
Well, gosh, I've still got a good copy on you. Let me give you some notes if you want to jot them down. Engage your compressor at a 3. Now, you know, if your internal compressor has a 3 capability, you know, a third of its capabilities, I would use that one, but just at a 3, a third of its capabilities, 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100. Roger? Okay, and next would be to go to your ALC, go to your ALC meter, and with the mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC to where you have a mid-scale to 2/3 deflection as you speak normally into your microphone. Adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger? And elsewise, I think it will sound just fine with those adjustments. That'll get you a nice fat signal. It'll get you a 3 dB dynamic range audio signal, which equates to 80 to 85% average peak modulation. Roger?
Very good, very good. And your handle, sir?
Name here is Jim Juliet India Mike, and we're located next to Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger?
Fantastic. Just off the Ohio. Very good. Well, it's good speaking with you, Jim.
Roger, likewise, sir, and you have a real good afternoon. If you get a chance, we do run our Qso-Vlog network on Friday afternoons, tomorrow, between 3:30 and 5 on 7188. Roger, Roger? Roger, and so what was the name again there, sir?
Don, Delta Oscar Nancy.
Roger, Don. Yeah, I've got it there. So threes to you, sir. And yeah, check those out, and then check in tomorrow if you get a chance. We'll be, like I say, on 7188 between 3:30 and 5. Roger. And we are recording now, so we'll be posting this in the next couple of days. If you want to hear what your radio sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for a title of an air check with your call sign in the title. Roger.
Very good, Jim. Well, thank you, and I will do that in a few days when it's posted. 73, KC9, Victor, Kilo Victor, Kilo India 5, Delta Julia. Thank you.
Roger, Roger, down 3's that way, sir. You have a real good afternoon, and hopefully see you tomorrow afternoon on 7188. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor.
Kilo Charlie 3, Mike X-ray, Sierra.
Kilo Charlie 3 station, come back slowly, phonetically.
Kilo Charlie 3, Mike X-ray, Sierra.
Roger, sir, and what's your name?
The name here is Bob Bravo, Oscar Bravo, and I am in western PA, about 35 miles to the west of Pittsburgh, right on the, pretty much close to the Ohio River.
Ah, you're close to the Ohio River, is that a Roger?
Roger, Roger.
Isn't that amazing? We're close to the Ohio River here. We are located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, and on the Indiana side.
Oh, Roger that. Hey, I'm running just let you know, I'm running a ICOM 7300, and I'm running it through a half-wave end-fed dipole outside, stretched from my house to the tree in the backyard.
You say yes, 7300?
Yeah, Roger that.
Oh, beautiful footprint. That audio, I can tell those. Just so nice. You have everything set up. Just out of curiosity, are you running your compressor at a 3?
That's correct. I'm running my compressor at 3. My gain at 70%.
Roger, and your ALC then would be mid-scale to 2/3?
That's correct. That's about right where it's at.
You got it. That's my magic tune up there. Have you been on 7188?
You know, I did talk to you, Jim, about 6 months ago when I first got this radio, and didn't know much about the settings at all. And it's amazing how much you learn in the last 6 months. Like I was new to the hobby, and yeah, I got the pretty much figured out, and I'm hoping it stays that way. So it sounds like everybody gives me good compliments on the quality and the sound on my radio. So thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Just perfect. Dynamic range is 3 dB. Average percent of peak modulation is 80 to 85%. We are running now 2 radios. Our normal transmit end radio is a highly modified FT990, older FT990, and we are receiving on a 7300. We're just playing around with using a receiver, the 7300 for receive. Roger.
No, Roger that. Yeah, and your signal here is a 10 over.
Roger. We're transmitting on our dipole antenna, and we are receiving on 2 large 10-foot magnetic loop antennas. One is oriented north and south, the other east and west. They come in on a 3-position rotary switch, where we can do each one separately, or we have a co-phase harness where we can put them 2 together, and a lot of times we'll get 3 to 4 dB hotter signal when we combine both of them. Roger.
Roger that. Hey, Jim, I have a quick, I want to give you a quick count. I'm going to switch to another antenna, which I have inside. See if you notice any difference on my signal. Go ahead.
Okay, can you do it, do it like a 5 or 10 count, and at 5 swap antennas without having to break it? Just take a pause and switch on the pause?
That's what I'll do. I'll give a count from 1 to 5 on one, pause, and then 6 to 10 on the other.
You got it, go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Roger. Antenna 2 was about 7 dB lower than the first antenna.
Okay, that's the one that's up in the attic indoors. The other one's outside. So that's what I wanted to see if there was a difference. I noticed it on the receiving wise. My noise level is way down on that antenna. So I moved, like I said, I have one outside, one inside, and I think that the outside one is obviously the better one, and I think the inside one's going to be ending up outside eventually.
Contact.
Stand by just a moment, contact. Roger, Bob. Yeah, that second antenna was, a good 7 dB lower than the first. And we are recording, so we have preserved the AV test on audio. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, KC9VKV, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog net page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a Qso with your call sign in it. Roger?
Okay, Jim, that sounds great. I'll let you go. Hey, Merry Christmas to you and everyone else. So you have a good day, and thanks for all your help. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor K Victor. It's Kilo Charlie 3 Mike X-Ray Sierra 73's Jim.
Roger, Bob. 3 set way. Have a great weekend. And the other station, go ahead now.
Good afternoon, Jim. KC9VKV, I believe. Here is K2AYA.
Okay, I have a very low copy on you, sir. You're just maybe half a dB above my noise level. You might come up on your mic, and let me see if I can hear you a little bit better. What's the name there?
The name here is Bravo Oscar Bravo, Kilo G Alpha Yankee Alpha, Woodbridge, New Jersey, over.
Okay, Bob, if you would like, I think I can fatten up your audio a little bit if you'd be interested. Okay, first thing I would do would be to engage your compressor. Engage your compressor at about a 3 out of 10. Get your compressor online at about a 3 out of 10. Roger?
Okay, this is 29 out of 100. 29 out of 100.
Close enough. Then I would go to my ALC meter. I would bring my ALC meter up, and with mic gain in hand, I would adjust my ALC reading to where it's running a mid-scale to 2/3 by talking just normally into the microphone and adjusting the mic gain control. Roger?
Okay, Roger. I'm about 2/3 ALC. Let's see, about 2/3 ALC, over.
Oh, yes, big difference there, sir. You're now at least 7 or 8 dB over my noise level, so excellent there. And let me tell me about your antenna system for about 10 or 15 seconds.
Well, the antenna system is a terrible compromise. It's in a HOA kind of situation. I really don't get into it, but it's about 100 feet long, oriented north-south. Kind of configuration, over.
Roger, Bob. Well, conditions have dropped back down. You're again about 1 dB above my noise level, but I think with your new settings, I think you'll have a better chance of getting out. The big part is that ALC, keeping that ALC up there between mid-scale and 2/3. What we recommend sometimes is that you take your watt meter, excuse me, and if you can see your watt meter, put it in the PEP position, so it will move fairly quickly. Most folks run it in the RMS, but we suggest for this you put your meter in PEP, and then you know where that sweet spot is, and by your voice and the way you talk on the microphone, you want to try to keep that meter running in the sweet spot. And a lot of it might have to do with the tempo of your voice, but then a lot of it also has to do with the modulation of your voice. So the mission is to keep that PEP meter running in that sweet spot as much as you can. Roger?
Roger. I understand a lot of the professional broadcasters are trying to keep a single tune going through rather than having peaks of this and that. So I completely understand that, over.
Roger, I've spent 50 years looking at a VU meter, so I can tell pretty much where that needle is going before it leaves the station, moving up. I can tell by how fast it's going, pretty much where it is going, And so I've been, like I say, I've been looking at VU meters for a long time, and I can pretty much see where, a person's dynamic range is within maybe 10 or 15 seconds of a Qso. Roger.
Roger, this is an Ullacraft, and they have a different configuration of ALC. and they would prefer not to depend on ALC much at all. They're kind of, you can tell that they have a negative connotation relative to it, rather relative to the need or the dependency on ALC, over.
Roger. Well, in most cases, the ALC meter is looking at the output of the limiter of the radio. The ALC meter is looking at the final output of the limiter on the radio. So, to me, now, and that's just a personal feeling, but to me, the ALC meter is God, because it will tell you precisely where your modulation level is, and you don't want to be in the red, and I've found that running mid-scale to 2/3 will give somebody a 3 dB dynamic range, which will equate to about a 3 dB dynamic range, and therefore between an 80 and 85% average peak modulation. Roger?
Roger, I'll have to look into that, because right now I'm looking at my ALC, I'm about 60%, and I just looked at the peak meter, and I'm beginning to understand exactly what you're saying. So most appreciative of that one. Did you do any kind of recording with this one, over?
Yes, sir. We are recording, and we'll be posting it up on YouTube in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for Qso with your call sign in it. And come back and let me verify that call sign, Roger.
Kilo 2 Alpha Yankee Alpha.
Roger, Bob, I've got it. I hope I can get everybody's call sign on the title. Sometimes it's a real challenge,
Well, it depends. There's a lot of sloppy radios, and a lot of people have to put up with terrible compromises. And the other thing too, it's like 7300 became very popular when 7610 began to show problems with their display. So 7300 became quite a bargain and quite a good purchase, over.
Yes, Roger. We're running now a two radio operation. Normally we're running just one, but we are going to be playing with a 7300 in the receive mode, Roger. What are you talking about, sir?
I thought that possibly it was you in conversation with someone else who said that they had a large magnetic loop for reception, over.
That's what we have. We have two large 10-foot magnetic loop antennas, vertically polarized. One is oriented east and west, the other north and south. They come in on a 3-position rotary switch, and 2 of those positions is each one singular, and then the 3rd position is a co-phase harness, which we then are running both antennas simultaneously, which often results in a 3 to 4 dB hotter signal than either one of the mag loops by themselves.
Okay, I get that. And are you using variable capacitors, over?
We are, but they're stationary. We go out and check them usually on Friday mornings, since we are just on 7188. And right now, excuse me, we are running them slightly detuned because they are set up on 7188, and we're running right now on 7214. But some of our good neighbors in the area of 7188 were not necessarily nice, so we had to go downriver. Roger.
Roger. It's a very busy area, 185, 188. I get that. I understand. So that's very nice, because you must then have a very good broadband loop, over.
Roger. Yeah, we normally run just on Fridays on 7188, and we do real well. We're between 2 RV service networks. Roger.
Roger. I'm about 20 miles southwest of New York City, and we're only running a and it's an Elecraft K3. I was just wondering where you were, over.
Roger, we're down around Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the Ohio River from Louisville in a little hamlet called New Albany, Indiana. Roger.
Roger, I got it. Thank you very much for your help. I'll be looking at that YouTube. I read Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, over.
That is correct. That is correct. And it'll probably take us a couple of days to get this uploaded to YouTube. We probably will get it sooner, but we just reserve, 48 hours to get it up there. Roger, Roger.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We have some kind of cycling noise. It's about every 3/4 of a second that we get an increase of static wave in its cycle. It's just, I have no idea. It sounds like radar or something. I receive it even on a portable battery-operated shortwave radio, and I just cannot locate this noise, so I have to do something about that, possibly a loop, over.
Roger that, or take your little portable AM radio and tune it down to 550 or thereabouts where there are no stations, and just to proceed to move around your area, listening up against AC outlets and switches and poles, and just to walk around to see if you can kind of get a handle on where it might be coming from,
Yeah, even better, it will go lower than that on shortwave, over, or rather higher on shortwave, over.
Yeah, I've found 550, 540, somewhere in there is a nice frequency where there are no broadcast stations, hopefully in your area. That's a nice frequency to track down QRM or, man-made or otherwise. And a lot of times, they are using wall warts as, those little power supplies that you plug in. Those can really raise havoc, so you check those out real good, Roger.
Oh, yeah, and I certainly do have a bunch of them. Fortunately, this particular amplifier is a linear and not switching on the power supply. That's one of the reasons that I was attracted to it, because it's small enough and yet it will give you a clean 400, maybe 450 watts out, over.
Roger that, Roger. Yeah, well, a lot of that noise, like I say, is coming from those little small wall warts. They just, I forget what they call them, but they just generate a lot of noise. Most of the time, it's not in the ham frequencies, but sometimes it is. I've tracked down a few. The best time is, if you ever have a major power failure, power up your radio by itself while everything else is dead, and you can see the difference between the normal residual noise level and the noise level that you will experience after a power outage or during a power outage, Roger.
Oh, I've done that. I have a battery which will operate the radio and will give me about 85, 90 watts out, and I have done that, and the difference is absolutely outstanding, over.
Roger, Roger. Okay, we got to jump out. Appreciate the comeback, sir. You have a real good weekend. If you get a chance, check in with us tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 till 5 on 7188, Roger.
I'll take a look at that, and I'll put a note, 7185, and tomorrow, what time tomorrow, over?
Roger, 7188. 7188 tomorrow between 3:30 and 5 Eastern, Roger.
Okay, Roger, I got a note. Thank you very much. And 7-3, I'll be listening out. And thank you very much for your help. I really, really appreciate it. Take care. 7-3, sayonara. Here's K2AYA. I'll be off and listening. Bye-bye.
Roger, Roger, Bob. 3's that way, sir. Have a great afternoon, a beautiful evening. This is KC9VKV, and we've been running our Qso-Vlog pop-up air check to check out the functionality of running a transmit radio and a receive radio dislocated from each other, but operating in tandem with each other, and so far it looks like it's working out. We did have to build a mute to relay for the antenna input to our 7300 that we're using in receive that would prevent the residual RF excuse me, from getting in the radio while we power down with 1 kilowatt. And so far, no smoke. Catch everybody later. Threes, this is KC9VKV. Be clear.
All right, I'll look forward. Maybe I can catch you tomorrow. WD4ERM.
D4REM, or what is that?
Yeah, it's Whiskey Delta 4, Echo Romeo Mike. Been listening to your conversations with the different hams across the East Coast over here. And good information you're giving out, and I know they appreciate your help. I was going to ask you about how you kept the RF out of that other one. I had a mishap here. I keyed up my 30L1 linear, and I burned the front end out of my 1000D. I won't do that again. Anyway, I got it repaired. That's what I'm on now, the FT1000D. And the antenna here is a vertical shaped loop. It's not a delta loop, but it is in a triangle. It's called a super mini loop. Got it diagrammed on my QRZ page. It's up 80 feet. Just running 200 watts out of the 1000D. Anyway, your signal here has been steady, 9 to 10 over, and very good audio, Jim. I was looking at your YouTube pages, and when I get some time, I'm going to go back and spend some time on them. KC9VKV, WD4, Echo Romeo Mike. The name is Ken, Kilo Echo November. Located in Quitman, Georgia, which is right on the Georgia-Florida line. Over.
Roger, Ken. Well, I'm so sorry to hear your difficulty on your radio, but yeah, we do. Our Elmer said, "Now, what you're going to have to do, yeah," and we already had that because we've been running a FT990 as our normal radio, and it does have an aux antenna in, and so we did build a mute relay for the aux in so that we didn't get a lot of residual RF coming back into the aux in, which can burn that up just as well as a regular receive antenna input to the radio. So we are using that mute relay going into our 7300, which we're using as a receiver and transmitting on the Yaesu 990. And like I say, we're just testing out the 7300, kind of incorporating it in very slowly right now, just in the receive mode. Roger?
Okay, I understand. Boy, that 7300 has been a popular radio. It's probably been the biggest seller right out of the box of any that's ever come out, and they all sound great. ICOM did a good job on getting that rig and the microphone all matched up. And when you get them, you get the numbers right on it, you just leave it alone and talk on it. I'm interested in, I know you're trying to sign, but I wanted to ask you one thing. On your QRZ page, you mentioned a major 50,000 watt AM broadcast facility. I wonder what station that was.
That was WHAS in Louisville, Kentucky. I came to Louisville as a production director for WHAS in 1970, and I was production director for HAS from 70 to 79. Roger?
Oh, okay. All right. I do some, just for my own novelty, do some AM broadcasts.
Please don't tune up on an active frequency.
Not really short wave listening, but just trying to, to see what distant stations I can pick up. That's one of the things that got me interested in radio years ago when I was in high school. I had an old Philco radio that I used to do some AM DXing, I guess. Jim, I know you're trying to sign, and I got something I need to do too, but maybe I can get you Friday afternoon, and I'm going to check out your YouTube pages. Thanks a lot. And how's the signal on the 1000D, over?
Oh, nice. You're probably about 8 over my noise level, coming and going, but probably an average about an 8 over my noise level, so really good signal. And if you're looking for an antenna for your broadcast SWL or your broadcast listening, you might consider a loop antenna of the size of 36-foot loop. I know that I've got one loop that I use on 10 meters, which is a full wave loop that works great on broadcast, and it is 10 foot on the. It's a rectangular loop, and I used, I think, RG6. I'm sorry, RG. Oh gosh, the smaller stuff, RG6, I guess it is, yeah. Around, kind of tie wrapped around this PVC frame. The frame was 10 foot on the horizontal and 8 foot on the vertical. 36-foot loop, and I think I just used 75 ohms cable for the transmission line to it also. So 75 ohm RG6, and then tie wrap it around, and I just fed mine. The first one I built, I fed it from the top because I didn't know any better, and it worked great. The second time I rebuilt it, I fed it from one corner. I haven't really seen much of a difference. I preferred feeding it just from the top. And I used a 10-foot, out of Home Depot top rail. I think it's 10 foot 6 inches, steel or whatever they call it, and just in a rotor, and that works great. So you might consider that when you want to build a directional antenna for your if you low band monitor a bunch of broadcast stations. And incidentally, the frequency for WHAS is 840 KC. So if you wanted to try to copy that station, 840 KC. Roger, Roger.
Okay, give me the call again.
It's WHAS AM.
Okay, I got it. I'll look for it. I sure will. All right, Jim. Thanks again, and good signal. Good QSO 40 meters didn't leave us talking to ourselves, and I look forward to getting up with you again. KC9VKV, WD4ERM.
Roger, Roger, Ken. Three's that way, sir. You have a real good evening and a great weekend coming up. And if you get a chance, join us tomorrow afternoon on 7188 between 3:30 and 5. This is KC9VKV, and we will conclude our, just in the nick of time, we will conclude our Qso-Vlog pop-up on this frequency, and we'll say three's all. Catch you later. This KC9VKV will be clear.
KC9
73 there,
KC9VKV, quick shot at you. Kilo Charlie 3, Whiskey Juliet Bravo here. KC9VKV, KC9VKV. This is Kilo Charlie 3, Whiskey Juliet Bravo here.
Kilo Charlie 3. Yeah, let me get this down. Kilo Charlie 3, Whiskey Juliet Bravo. What was the last part?
Whiskey Juliet Bravo. That's me.
That's what I thought I said. Anyway, welcome. What's the name there?
My name's Bill, and I got a banging signal here at you. It's, holy cow, it's like 9 over plus 20. You must be running a beam at me.
No, I'm running dual magnetic loop antennas, 10-foot, two of them magnetic loop vertical antennas. One is oriented east and west, one's north and south, and I have a co-phase harness, and right now I'm running them in co-phase mode. Roger?
Roger that. Back in my old broadcast DXing days, I used a Wellbrook loop, which was 3 feet in diameter. It was amplified, and it was one of the most amazing things that I've ever used.
Roger, you should check out the new mag loops, magnetic loop antennas. They are tremendously narrow banded. I mean, you're either almost there or not. Maybe 20 or 30 KC band pass. Roger.
Roger that.
I am out of the broadcast band DXing now that I've got my general class ticket. That was what I'd shot for the last 55 years, and for whatever reason, just now made it about a year or two ago.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, and what radio are you running, sir?
I have a 7300.
Ah, great. I'm copying you on the 7300, Roger.
I do copy that. I've been listening to your conversations for the last half hour probably, and was just able to break in just a second ago. I was mainly interested in how you copy my signal strength and how you copy my voice. Over.
All right, signal strength, you are 10 dB above my residual noise level. The audio quality has got a nice EQ curve, and it looks like your modulation could be running maybe 3 dB. Why don't you tell me in about 10 or 15 seconds about your antenna system?
It's very simple. I have a CH250B Comet Vertical that I've had since got my general class ticket. I also use my antenna's wire, which is resonant from 80 to 6 meters. I don't use that very often because I don't like the way it's oriented, but because of my real estate and the hillside behind me, I'm kind of stuck with that.
Roger, Bill. Okay, I suggest, I don't know where you are running, but I think you could be a tad fatter if you engaged your compressor at about a 3. Engage that compressor at about a 3 out of 10, 30 out of 100, and that would be a nice starting point. I think in the 7300, I think it's a 3. And then move on to your ALC meter, and with your mic gain in hand, adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC meter by speaking just normally into your microphone and adjusting your mic gain. Roger?
Roger that. My RF is currently 100 watts, and my mic gain is 50%, and my compressor is at 3.0.
Roger, you have a ALC meter excursion noted on your meter?
Not at the present time. I have to fix that. I don't really keep it on there. I keep it on my SWR, mainly because I'm concerned of, obvious SWR issues.
Roger. Yeah, I would suggest, though, for your test to go in transmit and then bring up your ALC after you're in the transmit mode, and then adjust your mic gain for a deflection on the ALC meter of mid-scale to 2/3. Roger. And you've got to do that in transmit. So I'll leave you with a note on that, Roger.
Roger that. In fact, I just lost you for a second. I'm going to try to catch your show tomorrow afternoon, I believe it is, at 3 o'clock?
3:30 till 5 Eastern. 3:30 till 5 Eastern, Roger.
2:30 it is. Thank you very kindly. Appreciate the QSO. It was very nice talking with you. And by the way, my mom's folks came from Evansville. Haven't been back there for, well, let's say 60 years. But I do know that's where they came from originally, and I'm certainly familiar with WHAS, obviously. But anyway, it was wonderful talking with you, sir. This is Kilo Charlie 3, Whiskey Juliet Bravo, clear.
Roger, sir. And you might try something else, too, that we're recommending is using your watt meter in the PEP mode, and if you can see your watt meter from where you normally run your microphone, look at it as a VU meter, and you want to keep that, try to keep that meter in the sweet spot mode between mid-scale to 2/3, and you use it just like a VU meter. Roger?
Yes, sir, we copy that.
All right, Bill, let me say threes to you, sir, and if you can, join us on the Qso-Vlog network on 7188 tomorrow afternoon between 3:30 and 5. And I want to try to get everybody's call sign on this Qso here. This is a pop-up Qso to check out the 7300 in the receive mode of our Qso-Vlog network operations. And I think so far, no smoke, and I think it turned out pretty well. We shall see when we review the audio. Threes all. And we've got to get out of here now. This is KC9VKV, clear.